Well, welcome everybody. We are doing our state of search tonight. We have Amanda Jordan here. She is going to be going over local SEO and link building. I am so pumped and excited for that. We do have a little couple housekeeping things we're going to get going with though. We did launch state of search tickets on our site. There's a little QR code up here in the top corner. Oh, yep, right there. And then if you scan that, it'll take you to the registration page, or in the link in the description on this video, you can go there. We have Kevin with us tonight. He's VP of Communications, and my name is Casey Watkins. I'm the president of State of Search, and we do want to thank our sponsor for this month, media-wise, Casey Marquis. If you want to check out his site, oh man, I will get that right there. Hit the QR code real quick and check him out. We appreciate him sponsoring this month. It helps get in front of more viewers like you.
Hold on, I think that's WYSE.
Oh, yep.
I think that was before the correction. Oh. I know you have the correct version of that.
Yep. Yeah, the link was correct, but now the text is correct. So go check him out real quick, and then we'll let Amanda get going. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Here's your slides.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am Amanda Jordan, and I am currently Director of Digital Strategy at Rickety Roo. We are an agency that works with small, medium-sized businesses, but my experience and background in SEO has it's been for 10 years, mostly with local businesses. But I've worked with everyone from 1 to 2 location businesses to as large as 300 plus locations as well. So a huge range of clients, huge range of industries. And I genuinely just enjoy sharing what I learned. And hopefully you find it useful and helpful. And today I'm going to be talking about taking your local SEO to the next level with link building. So you may be wondering why I chose this topic, because like we all know that links are important, or at least I think the vast majority of us, anyone who has done any research on how to rank, you've heard that links are important. But I think we get too stuck on domain authority or the number of links or how many backlinks that site has, things like that may not actually be the best indicators of quality for us when we're a local business. That may not be the best way to go, especially as we take into account Google's increase, and just search engines in general increase understanding of context, understanding of relationships between businesses and locations and things like that. Focusing on a site that has nothing to do with your location, but is popular for a topic that is somewhat relevant, may not be the best way to go for links. It may be better to think more local. And that's kind of how we're going to go with this presentation. So just some statistics, just in case you were like, backlinks aren't that important anymore, right? Well, a search engine land study done this year said that 40% of the top 20 ranking factors are backlink related. So clearly super important. And if you don't believe them, or you're like, that's just regular organic, that doesn't include local. Well, White Spark does a local ranking factors survey every year. And they speak with the top local SEOs in the industry. And they also said that, link building is important. It was 12 of the top 50 local ranking factors for the local pack were related to links. 5 of the top 15 local ranking factors for organic were related to links. So their importance, their relevance has not, and may not be important in the same way as we always thought about it, but it's still extremely important for you to be able to rank. And if you're not paying attention to the type of links you're building, your competitors are building, you are likely being left behind in some ways. here's just a weighted graph. If you're like, well, you said it was, what was it? 5 of the 15. So that's approximately 26% if we're looking at the weighted graph of all of the ranking factors. 26% of them are related to link building. 36% are related to on-page things too, which is one of my other favorite topics to talk about for local SEO. Yeah, that could be a whole nother talk just about things that I often see missing on page. And just like I was just saying, link quality is more important than link quantity. But like, what does that mean? What is a good quality link? We all have like some vague definition of what a good quality link is, but is it really what Google considers a good quality link? And what are they rewarding right now as far as featured snippets? Like, who gets it in their opinion with their answer? So WooRank has been the top for this keyword or variations of this keyword for about a few months. So this is clearly a pretty good definition. A quality backlink refers to a do follow backlink within the body text of the page on a high quality website that is relevant to your topic that points to a page on your website. Which I think we understand that most of the time. I think especially for editorial sites, blogs, it's very clear what your topic is. But I think with local SEO, we often have a one-track mind when it comes to our topic, because our topic is more than one thing. Your service is your topic, or your product is your topic, and your location is a topic too. So if we go back to that definition, relevant to your topic could mean relevant to your location, relevant to your city, relevant to your state, relevant to your county, relevant to your community. Those are also websites that you can get links from, not just ones that are talking about the service or product that you offer. So I had a theory that I wanted to test based on that definition, based on what we saw with our own clients. What actually works for link building? What type of links actually produce the best results? How do we figure that out? So this is, like I said, my hypothesis is high performing websites are more likely to focus on locally relevant link building instead of topically relevant link building. So, like I mentioned at the top, I have a theory that topically relevant links aren't always the best links for local businesses. Sometimes the best link is the one that is truly local, is from someone in your local community, is from a trusted source on Google from information about your location. And I know the easy ones to think about with that may be news organizations, radio stations, things like that. But there are other opportunities there too that are beyond our Chamber of Commerce, those types of things, or tourist sites for your city that list local businesses. But I think we can go further than that. So this study I did is I took the top 50 cities and looked at businesses in the HVAC industry, plumbing, heating, air conditioning. I looked at the websites that were on the first page of search results, and then I categorized all of their backlinks. So that was a fun project to do. It took a little bit of work, but luckily I knew some tricks that I'll talk about later on to help me categorize those links more quickly than it would have taken me if I did it by hand. So the top performing pages, when I looked at all of the data at one time, I picked the locations that, or the websites in the location pages that had the best rankings overall. And on average, they ranked for 63 keywords on that top ranking page on those websites. And then the top 5 performing pages had at least 87% more first page rankings. So even out of the top pages, the top 5 performing pages rank for significantly more than any other page that showed up in this list. So the people who were getting it were really getting it because they were outperforming everyone, not even just in their city, but nationwide. In the top 50 cities in the United States, they were outperforming everyone from an SEO perspective because I was looking at competitive cities. So I knew that if they could win in this city, their same strategy probably would win in other cities as well. And many of these were multi-location businesses. So they also had that to consider as far as link building as well. So one of the things that I found, which I think we all assume, is that if whoever has the most backlinks is likely to rank higher in search results. And that was not the case at all. There were some that only had 1 or 2 backlinks, but they had the most rankings. I looked at the content too. And using SEMrush, their content was ranked pretty much the same across the board. No one had significantly better content for my keywords. They were about the same on the first page. The backlinks was one of the only factors that was even slightly different. So as you can see here, these are the top 5 sites, the ones that I said had on 87% more first page rankings than any other site. These are non-branded page 1 terms, by the way, too, because of course it would be completely pointless to show this. They were all branded terms. So these are the 5 sites. This is the number of backlinks they had to the ranking page. And this is how many page 1 terms they had. As you can see, there's not a ton of correlation between the number of page 1 terms and the number of backlinks. Site 5 is doing pretty good with only 7 backlinks, and they're in one of the most competitive cities in the United States for a very competitive industry, and they're still doing really well. Site 1 only has 15 more page 1 rankings than Site 5, with taking the time to gain 52 more backlinks. So it seems like Site 5 is more efficient with their link building. And I wanted to understand why this was the case. Why, when like some of these sites, like these pages didn't even have a lot of content on them. I would actually consider them thin sometimes as far as content, at least in my perspective, looking at these types of clients day in and day out. I would consider some of these pages pretty thin. Like they weren't like the content had great quality scores, but I've seen better. So it wasn't that their content was insanely great, insanely amazing or great quality content. It came down to being that the quality of their backlinks, where they were getting their backlinks from. So this is looking at the best 5 and the worst 5 and looking at their backlinks categorized. So you're going to see something interesting here. The best 5 has a more balanced categorization of their backlinks. So they have a little bit of everything, but mostly local. If you look at the worst 5, they have a ton of citations, a ton of citations. And they thought that would be enough because, hey, a lot of times citations give you backlinks, right? I think that's an easy trap for us to fall into, is to think, oh, let's just get some citations and they'll count as backlinks. That's clearly not enough, because our best 5 ranking pages had fewer citations and more truly local links, and our worst 5 had more citations than anything else. Local is next, but it's pretty far behind. So you can see here what are some of the issues that some sites have, and these are just to remind you, this worst 5, they're still the page 1 ranking sites for the top 50 cities in the United States for home services businesses. So it's not that they're not ranking well. They're just not on the top of the page consistently. And the ones who are on top of the page consistently have the blue bar graph as their profile for their backlinks. So I wanted to take this a little bit further and test this on one of our clients. Let's see how they would perform if we took our strategy, if we looked at categorization of links for their top competitors, compared it to ours, and specifically focused on the type of links where we were behind and that we were unbalanced. So as you can see here, again, local and topical tools and coupons are up there too, which I thought was odd, but it balances out. It's like, it just seems to be more consistent overall with the best 5. So we wanted to make sure that our clients were similar to what we see in the best 5. So the client, using this case study, was a nationwide house cleaning franchise. So they had lots of locations to look into for this case study to determine how impactful links are. And we had a control group, and we had specific locations that we were working on for link building. And these locations we were working on were the locations with the worst rankings out of all of them. So it's not just that we were working on every location, or we were working on the best locations that were already performing well, or were already high on the second page, or maybe at the bottom of the first page and just need a little bit of left in striking distance. But these were the locations that were struggling. Their competitors were SMBs and national franchises. So this is, I think, a situation that a lot of local businesses find themselves in, where they're competing with small businesses in their area that have maybe 1 to 3 locations, but then they also have the bigger national franchises. If you're in pest control, I'm sure you know who Orkin is. Like if you're in home services, I imagine you know who 1 Hour Heat and Air is. So those are some of the businesses that have multiple locations all across the country and are essentially national. So you're competing against them across the board. And because they're national and they have one site with lots of locations on it, their root domain has lots of backlinks because they're only building backlinks to one site. But that site has tons of locations. So tons of content, tons of ways for people to decide they want to link to them for various reasons. So they have a little bit of a competitive advantage from a link building perspective. So our findings was that competitor-based link acquisition works. So the locations that were in the case study, that were the ones where we focused on, hey, we categorized the links, we looked at them, and we said, this is where we're behind our top competitors, our competitors that are consistently outranking us, where we do not see a clear content differentiator with them, or a clear internal linking differentiator, anything like that. We saw a 38% increase in clicks year over year. We did year over year because this is a cleaning franchise, so there's seasonality in play here. So year over year, we saw 38% increase. Locations that were not in the case study only grew by 14%. So we had a significant improvement for the locations where we used the competitor information and categorized their backlinks and compared them to ours after they were categorized and determining what we need to grow in. When we did that, we had a 38% increase in clicks versus only 14% when we did not do that for the locations that were in the control group. So how do I use this to build better backlinks? What exactly did you do, Amanda? Because you kind of talked about it, but you didn't give me a lot of details. And I'm with you. I did not give a lot of details. So here's actually what I did. Identify competitors. You want to look at for competitors who are consistently outperforming you for a variety of services. I think it's very easy for clients especially to get focused on one keyword or a certain set of keywords and forget about the rest of the related terms that someone could be searching for, where you may not be as visible, or maybe you are visible, but they're so focused on certain variations of the terms that they're missing the forest for the trees. So what we like to do is create a set of keywords that we want to track specifically for this. And we like to go across all the client services. So we don't like to, like if it's a plumbing company, we won't just look at sump pump keywords or just plumbing company or plumbers. We will do a variety of keywords like toilet repair, drain cleaning, all those different types of things. Anything where we know there's a lot of search volume related to it in that specific city for that specific service. And we often use Google Ads for that. So if you need the step before this, you want to determine what are those keywords that are going to be super relevant to you, and where you would want to know who is ranking for a wider service area, not just who is ranking better than you down the street. So the tool that I used for this was Bright Local's local search grid, just because I like to see the bigger picture. So I like to see, okay, 5 miles away, this is how we perform in comparison to these competitors. Like out of all like 25 location points, this is who is beating us overall. It gives you that type of view, which I think is really useful. There are other tools that do this too. I think Local Falcon is one of them, and there's probably a few more. So if you're interested in a tool that can do this for you, those are some. And if you don't have access to a tool, you can like search yourself. Like you can do an incognito window, put in the city name and your keywords, and create your own test locations and test keywords, and find how you perform overall and who keeps showing up for those terms ahead of you. So get backlink data. Use your favorite link analysis tool to get competitor backlink data. There's lots of them. All of them will do. Like nothing gets 100% of the backlinks. So it's not something that we focus too heavy on recommending or using one specific type of tool. If you have access to more than one tool, that's also great, because that means that you can cross-reference and build a bigger list and a more complete list. So you can do that if you want to. You want to get all of your competitor backlink data. You also want to get your backlink data using the same tools, because you want to be you want an apples to apples comparison. You don't want to be using a completely different tool, or I don't know, some sheet or Google Sheet or some other place where you're keeping up with all of your backlinks. You want to use a fair comparison. So you want to use the same tool to get your competitor backlinks and your backlink data. If you're not aware of what tools to use, SEMrush and Ahrefs are two tools that will allow you to get that backlink data, but there are lots of them. So like, don't feel like you have to use one of those. There are plenty of others that you can choose from as well. So next, you want to categorize your backlinks. First, you want to create a categorization guide. You want to have specific guidelines so that you know, so that there's consistency. Because if there's not consistency, then like you're doing all this for nothing, because it's not going to be accurate. You won't be able to trust the outcome if you're categorizing a Yelp link one way one time, and the next time you're counting it as if you count it as a citation once and then you count it as a social media one next, or you count it as a citation once and then you count it as a local link for another site, then that makes your data unclear, muddy, and kind of useless. So it's very important to make sure you have clear guides as to what you're going to consider a truly local link, what you're going to consider as citation, what you're going to consider topical, those types of things. For my purposes, sites that were about that city or that area was a truly local link to me. A citation was anything where it was a name, address, phone number type thing, or directory, or social media account type thing like Yelp. Those were considered directories. And for my case study. Analyze your data. So you can get your data looking pretty in a few different ways. If you did all this in a Google Sheet, you can just make a table out of it and make it, and then make a chart from that table. You can put it into Google Data or Looker Studio. You can do it however you want. It's up to you. But once you, or you could give it to like a AI tool and have it visualize it for you, and analyze it for you too, really. So what you want to do is look at that data and ask yourself, what does that data tell you about your top performing competitors? When you're looking at their categorization of their backlinks, so what trends are you seeing for your top ranking competitors? What things do they have in common? What things do the competitors that you think you're closer to beating? What do they have in common? Are they favoring a specific type of backlink? Or are they not focusing on a specific type of backlink that you think is important? So, for example, you may find that a lot of your competitors don't have actual topical backlinks. That doesn't mean that they're not useful. It could mean that this is an opportunity. You've spotted a competitor weakness that you can capitalize on. So it's really important to look at that data from different perspectives, like what are your competitors' strengths and what are their weaknesses that you can capitalize on with this information. One of the things that I like to do this with this data, which I alluded to, was to use AI tools to look at it, analyze it. You could also attempt to use AI tools to categorize your data, but that takes a lot of understanding of how to prompt things. So if you just gave it a list and told it to, like, you just spit out in Ahrefs report, you put it into ChatGPT and you told it, hey, use this information and categorize them. These are the names of my categories. It's not going to do a great job of deciding what's a citation and a truly local link, and probably topical sometimes too. It's going to get really confused without you giving it clear parameters as to what it's looking for, and even examples of what it's looking for. So I can get a little bit messy. So yeah, I would, if you can build something using Python to do it, that would be a much cleaner and easier way to do it. Or if you want to use an AI tool, you just have to do a lot of training of that model to make sure that it gives you the results you're looking for. And by the end of it, unless you're going to be doing this a lot, you may have spent the same amount of time you would have doing it a different way. Okay, identify opportunities. So what I typically do is focus on the local opportunities first, because that was what when we looked at the best 5 ranking pages across the top 50 cities in the United States for HVAC and plumbing, local were the keywords, the backlinks they had the most of. That was the most important type of backlink that they had. So, and it's very rare that you will see that a website has a ton of local backlinks already, and you're already good in that way. That's usually one of the key places where businesses are behind, because they're harder to build, because it requires you to truly have spent some time thinking about your backlink strategy, probably reaching out to local vendors or building local relationships to get those backlinks. They're less likely to be something that you could have easily attained by filling out a form or sending someone a couple dollars. So like that's really the difference between local backlinks and other types of backlinks, which shows you how valuable they can be as a part of your SEO strategy as well, because your competitors can't just immediately do everything you're doing, and they wouldn't understand what your strategy is unless, like, you're doing this and they saw this presentation. That would be the only way they would know, because I have not seen that anyone in the industry is really treating them this way. Yeah, focusing on local backlinks does help you create a more solid backlink strategy, because it is harder to copy that part of a strategy than it is to copy getting citations or signing up for Yext. No, that's not like a dig at Yext, but it's just like it's easier to do that than go and find individual opportunities from truly local websites. Okay, so you've decided who your true competitors are. You got their backlinks using a SEMrush or Ahrefs or another tool. You categorize those backlinks. You decided, okay, these are good opportunities. Now you want to actually go after those backlinks. You want to look at each of those sites, determine how your competitor achieved getting that backlink. What do you need to do? Reach out to whoever you need to reach out to figure out what you need to do. See if there's similar sites that your competitors didn't think about. One of our clients, they are in the healthcare industry, and they have multiple locations. But they are a faith-based organization, and they work with a lot of churches. They like in their community, but they have not aligned themselves with these churches enough to get backlinks from them. So that's a missed opportunity. Is to like, hey, you're already doing events with these churches. You're already giving them information for their members about healthcare services. We gave them some opportunities to get into community by having a tent at 5Ks and marathons, because they are a healthcare provider. They provide emergency and urgent care services. So it makes perfect sense for them to be there. And then they get put on that website for that 5K or that marathon, or they get put on as a sponsor on other websites that talk about the event. So that adds up really quickly. And all it was is like, hey, this is what your competitors are doing, or hey, this is something similar to what your competitors are doing, but they haven't reached out to the specific website yet. Let's take advantage of that. So that is a good way to look at it and find a different angle on getting backlinks. Like that's one of the best things about this different view on categorizing backlinks, instead of just looking at them from a domain authority or number referring domains or number of backlinks perspective, is that it gives you more an idea of what the sites are about. If you know what the sites are about and you think it's a good quality link, that opens up an entire new avenue for other links that you could build that may not be the first thing that came to mind, because you only found this one link that competitor had that was relevant to this entire new avenue that you discovered by just looking closely at the backlinks and seeing that one link. Okay, so you're going to say, but I don't have time to categorize the ton of links, Amanda. Like my client has 10 locations. How am I going to look at categorize all of their backlinks and then also categorize all the backlinks of all of their competitors too, or their top competitors too? So we've actually done something pretty cool. Because we don't have time to categorize all the backlinks for hand either. And we were like, how do we do this at scale? We understand that it makes a difference. We have that client case study where the clients who we focus on specific types of backlinks, they grew by 38% versus the pages where we didn't focus on creating backlinks based on where they were behind. They only grew by 14%. So we wanted to figure out how we can do this at scale with more clients much faster. So we created tools to allow us to do that. As you can see here, like I said, local is usually where businesses are behind. And as you can see here, our client, which is the pinkish color here, had no local links. They had no tropical links, and they had no citations at the time of the screenshot. So as you can see, like this is like, yeah, they're behind. And when you look at the data like this, it's clear why they're behind. And getting a ton of citations may help a little bit, but it's not going to help as much as getting these local and topical links, because of what we know from the case study and from the link research that was done. So like, well, like it would be easy to say, let's just get some more links. Let's get some more citations in there and we'll be good. That's clearly not the case, because we have some catching up to do for topical and local. Topical seeming to be pretty important with the number of competitors that have more links there than anywhere else other than citations. I expect everyone to have a lot of citations because it's the gimme. It's the easiest thing to do. But seeing higher ratios of local and topical compared to our client is a clear sign that somewhere we're behind. This one is just other. You really can categorize your citations, or sorry, backlinks however you want. You can do topical local citations and other, but you may want to be more granular than I was. You may want to do like blogs, editorial, or news, local citations like tools and coupons like I did. And you may have some other categories, because that doesn't necessarily really even apply only to local. This could apply to essentially any type of site. This may work for other types of site too. I can't say that for sure because I'm only talking about local SEO, and I only did my case study on local SEO client, and only did my link research for local SEO specifically. But I don't see a reason why this wouldn't apply to non-local SEO focused sites as well, because of the importance of topical relevance. And you may have, and those sites may also have more than one topic that they're not considering, because I think a lot of times we forget that our location is part of the topic, even though that's one of the main differentiators between local SEO and other types of SEO. It's not just that you have to be concerned about reviews in your Google business profile. It's that your location is now a factor into how you want to rank, where you want to rank, how you show up in search results, all those things, how far you can rank, or like the radius where in which you can rank. All those things are related to your location, and what keywords you're going to rank for, of course, too, related to your location. So it's important to understand how topically relevant your location is, and consider maybe there's other topics related to your business too that you're not thinking about if you're not considering your location already. It's just definitely, if you're in local SEO, your location is one of the many potential topics that could be related to your link building strategy. One of the things that we also have noticed is that there's sometimes when a site has poor domain authority, or it's a brand new website, but a link from that site can still be extremely impactful for rankings, because the website is owned or about a organization or a person that is super highly relevant or super popular in that area. So I don't know, if you're a DJ and Pitbull buys a house in your near your GBP location or something like that, and then he links to your site, it doesn't matter that Pitbull just put that site up. It's still going to be impactful for you that you get a link from a site that is clearly owned and about Pitbull, and like has that expertise, authority, trustworthiness, all from that. So like, it's not always about no hate to Pitbull, I'm not a fan. It's just the first name that came to mind. But it's not always about like the it being a super insanely cool like site, or super like it doesn't have to be Forbes, it doesn't have to be New York Times, it doesn't have to be anything like that. It could literally be the #1 realtor in your city. And if you get a link from them, that could be extremely valuable if you're doing anything related to homes. If you're doing home renovations or something like that, or you're doing house flipping or something like that, that could be super useful to you. That could be extremely valuable to you. But if your competitors don't see that as valuable, or they don't understand the value of that, that's a leg up that you're giving yourself that it's going to be hard for them to do, especially if you really grow that relationship with that link building partner outside of SEO, which is, I know, crazy that marketing goes outside of SEO, and there's other things that you can get from these relationships that you start with local businesses, local organizations, when you focus on local link building as well. And I'm going to go a little bit on a related tangent about that too. And this is actually a topic I'm going to be speaking about soon at a conference. But yeah, going outside of thinking about SEO, that is going to be the future of SEO, is to think about brand in general, think about community in general, think about your customers in general and what's best for them and what helps them. And being a true part of your community is going to be what's best for your customers if you're a local business. and showing up in multiple ways and different ways is going to be what's best for your business. And it's going to be the way you get found on the internet. That is going to be the future of search, is that you're going to be found by being highly visible on the internet because you're so ingrained in your community. You're so ingrained in your city. You're so ingrained in like that. If someone thinks about plumbing in New York, like the search engine, the AI tool, whatever it is, there's so much information about your business online that there's no one else that they would really consider being the top result for that. Or maybe New York is a bad example for that. It would be super competitive. But I think you'll get the point. The goal is to be so relevant for the search term that it's hard to compete with you. And that goes beyond SEO. Of course, that goes beyond your website. It's about your marketing presence in general. And SEOs need to start thinking about being more integrated with marketing as a whole, with the business as a whole, with the brand as a whole, because there's so many missed opportunities that could be super impactful. For example, I have a client that I work with where there's lots of influencers in their industry and they've never reached out to any of them. And one email marketing campaign, and now they have relationships with the biggest YouTubers in their industry. And that was all it took. It was one email. That's all I did. And there was nothing insane about the process. It just took putting in the effort and thinking beyond what is just the best for SEO, what's best for the client, what makes the most sense for business growth, because that stuff is going to impact SEO in the end too. And there's plenty of ways to attribute that to organic down the line as well. But yeah, think about more than SEO. Think about being the best marketer. Think about being a true partner to your clients, because that is going to be what gets you the best results and keeps those relationships going. All right, off my soapbox now. So with this tool, in addition to showing you like where you're behind, we're also using it to like build our citations. Like we're gonna say like, hey, this one is garbage, let's ignore it. This one is cool, let's get it. This one is garbage, let's ignore it. So like we're doing that. We're looking at our competitors' links one by one, and to the point where, well, at some point, these just like, hey, we keep seeing this garbage site show up over and over again. It just automatically goes into an ignore status. But anything that is not automatically ignored, we look into and we determine if it's a good link or not, because that's how much we believe in getting truly local links and getting truly topical links and building up a good link building profile that is hard to beat, because you're spending the time to do it the right way versus your competitors who are trying to find a quick and easy way. So you may say that that's great, Amanda. Cool. Thanks for showing me that that strategy and stuff like that. But what are some other ways I can build links that are not like just citations, since you talked so much crap about them this whole time? Unlinked mentions. So unlinked brand mentions is a great opportunity. You can look for mentions of your business name, mentions of C-level team members, because if the CEO of a company probably doesn't mind being associated with their business and then getting a link back to their business from that association, things like that can be super helpful for building links, because that site or is already referencing you. They're already talking about you. You're just asking them to link to your website. But also, like, if they're not willing to give you a link, or you're like unlinked brand mentions aren't useful otherwise, that's not true. Just having people mention and talk about your business online is useful. Just like the unlinked mentions themselves are already useful. It's just better if you can get that as a backlink as well. But like if you can get unlinked brand mentions, if you can get them to actually link to your site, that's just even better. Leverage data. So anonymizing customer data to provide interesting insights into your local area. So like my link building recommendations aren't going to be by links, just because it's boring. We all know we already know that that's what pretty much everyone is doing and how to do that. That's not super difficult to find out. But I'm talking about strategies that will help you set yourself apart and that will be difficult for your competitors to just immediately go run and do. So one of the examples, this is actually done by one of the biggest pest control companies, but on their location pages, they include the most common pests in the area for each location page, which is super interesting. But there's lots of different things that you can use your data for. If there is a huge event that happens in your city and you can provide your local news station with a quote saying that we had like, I don't know, an X% increase in calls about this specific home issue for homeowners. And we think it's really interesting. They may need to know this information. After the recent heavy rains, we've seen X% increase in mold issues in homes. We want to get this information out about how to protect your home from mold. Like, these are things that you can definitely do. And reach out to. And I know they sounds like hero recommendations because they essentially kind of are. Like, they're like, that's the type of stuff that reporters and news organizations are looking for because it's interesting. And if they're sharing it, then you're going to get links from that because they're sharing it. You get a link from them. If someone else sees it and thinks it's interesting, they'll link to it too. So those are some opportunities there. And also it's just good content, like good quality content that could also bring in traffic. If you're truly super local, I would recommend using truly super local information and making your posts about something that's truly local because I personally and professionally do not like sending national traffic to local sites from like blog posts or informational posts that they cannot convert into customers because like, oh, great, here's all this traffic, but it will never become a client. So yeah, if you're going to go this route, I would definitely focus on being truly local if you're small business, if you're large business, if you are national multi-location business, then yeah, doing something that's national is perfectly fine. But like we've all seen like those cool like graphs and charts and things that some sites have that get shared around the internet, they get shared on Reddit, they get shared everywhere. So it's a great opportunity to make something that is super popular. Current and newsworthy content. Going along with infographics and interesting information, more alongside like recent events and things like that. Yeah, create content that people actually want to see, that local organizations and news stations can actually use for something. And I think for the most part, your content team will love it too, because they're creating something new. They get to use their skills to do something other than write location pages or service pages or product pages. That's just super hyper focused on SEO. They get to be a bit more creative and create something that will be seen by more people. I would definitely encourage you to just speak more with your content team too about their ideas. I know a lot of times clients and us, we can get so focused on bottom of funnel content and the money keywords and all of that we miss that there are users that are earlier in the customer journey that would be interested in us still if they knew that they wanted to be interested in us. And educating customers is part of the funnel. It's part of the process. And this is just, I'm getting ahead of myself. Customer focused content. So like another example, I had a client who they were in healthcare too, but they were offering concierge services, like concierge healthcare providers. But they were going into a new market where people didn't really know what that means because they didn't have that before. So they're going into a new market. So we help them with creating content to help them customers understand their service, help people who are going to the website understand what they offer, because it was extremely valuable. Like it was a great service, something that I was even personally interested in it. That's how interesting it was. But they couldn't reach clients before because they they were so focused on concierge doctor keywords. But if someone's in an area where that's not something that has a lot of search volume, because no one in that area is familiar with those terms, that can make it difficult for you to actually get traffic from people who may be interested. So we help them grow links, grow visitors, and grow traffic by focusing on top of the funnel customer awareness and helping people understand why they want to choose them and work with them. Also build social proof. So this is me back on my soapbox a little bit about being everywhere. So like there's no follow links that come from social media. There are no follow links that will come from sites that you would like to have a do follow link from. That is kind of like the name of the game, but don't be short-sighted. Like think about the other benefits of having that link, having that brand mention, having that potential referral traffic, having that brand awareness too. Like all those things have value still. So do not knock no follow links just because it's not like going to do what you expect it to do in one way. It could surprise you by doing something even better in a different way. If you get a ton of referral traffic from a social media post and people actually call or fill out a form or buy something, like that's significantly better than like one backlink, in my opinion. If you would like to learn more about Rickety Roo or our link benchmarking process or link building or local SEO in general, you can find out more on the ricketyroo.com blog. And thank you.
I didn't unmute myself, so that don't really help when I'm trying to talk. But that was awesome. I enjoyed it. That was a great presentation. I learned that I should probably be checking my competitors' links way more than I am now.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, post them in chat, and I'll pop them up on the screen. We did have a couple of comments. Mike at Local Rise said, link building is the most fun and competitive part of SEO. It takes real creativity and often a phone too.
Yeah. I like he said the competitive part of SEO, because that's my favorite thing about SEO is that I am very competitive and
Yeah.
I like winning. And when I find things that I can exploit that a competitor is not doing, then that's that is the best thing ever.
Yep. Then Brandy Eddings said she loved the example, and I'm sure she was talking about Pitbull. So,
if only I could share that backstory.
now I want to know, but we'll move on. Oh, here we go. Steve says, does a link in the footer of our client site work as a backlink? Any issues doing this?
Not as valuable as a link that would be within content. It would definitely be better to have a link within the content itself. And you would also want varied anchor text as well, and that's hard to do when it's in the footer. So it's definitely better to have it in the content, which I know is more difficult to do, but that's why it's more valuable, because it's more difficult to do, unfortunately. It's probably doing more than nothing. Like, I'm not saying like there's probably some value there, but not as valuable as if it was within the content of the page and had very anchor text and was on multiple pages.
Okay. So what about, well, local type press releases?
I've actually seen I actually have seen some clients actually do pretty good with them, which is surprising. And I think it could really be based on the circumstance. Actually, I had a client who apparently they didn't know they were doing this, but apparently they said something controversial in a press release. So it got picked up by more sites. And it ended up giving them a ton of backlinks for a brand new domain. And it wasn't like he did it on purpose. It just happened to work that way. So I think maybe as part of a bigger marketing strategy, it could be beneficial. So, but I think on their own, there's probably limited benefits, and I imagine it diminishes pretty quickly over time because Google's super aware of those PR sites.
Yeah. Then Mike chimed in with, "Ooh, footer link haters by so many." Then followed up with, "Footer links are for hosts, not SEOs, LOL."
Yeah. I think footer links can be somewhat beneficial, but it's mostly for as far as the user experience type thing, and more so with linking within a site. If you are an SEO agency and you have your business name, your footer links, you might want to remove it because your competitors can put your information in Ahrefs or SEMrush, figure out who all your clients are, and try to poach them. So if that's why you're asking that, I would recommend potentially finding another way to get those links in, or a different marketing strategy, because it does happen when you add that in the footer.
Yes, it does. All right, any other questions before we wrap it up? While we wait to see if there's any other questions, just a reminder, we do have State of Search tickets up on sale on the site, and that is October 27th and 28th. Oh, I'm probably a liar. Right there. No, that's right. It's a week before elections. That's going to be so many political talks. I can feel it already at the conference. It's going to be exciting. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up then. I want to thank Amanda. Oh, 28th and 29th. See, I was a liar. I was close. It's the 28th and 29th. I want to thank Amanda. I want to thank you again for just coming out and hanging out and giving us a little lesson on link building. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was a great presentation. So thanks again. Y'all have a great day.